the interesting thing with the dialogue about the Rams, first off, I have no idea where you are on that. I don't know if you think that they're a dumpster fire, like seems like everyone else does, or if you're kind of like, intrigued by what they could be, because I'm going to pitch this to you. I think the Rams know something none of us do. I'm not just saying you and I'm saying other teams. If you remember, they got out in front and they basically learned to F them picks before anyone else. F them picks was the right way to win a Super Bowl quickly. It's not the right way to have sustained success because it puts way too much pressure on the cap. But I'm starting to wonder if it's almost like they found out something, and I've compared it to you're finding out something inside, and obviously don't insider trade, but it's like you find out something with a company and you're like, oh, I'm selling all my stock. It feels as though they knew or they learned something about defenses in the modern NFL and how paying $20 million for the best corner in the league doesn't matter anymore, and paying $14 million for Leonard Floyd doesn't matter anymore. Paying $10 million for Bobby Wagner doesn't matter anymore. And the scheme is able to somewhat hide the deficiencies. What are your thoughts on that theory? Because I feel like when you take a guy like, say, Raheem Morris, who I think is an incredible defensive coordinator, I think he's top 10 in the league and doesn't get enough respect. You have guys like Jacoby Durant and Ernest Jones, and those are guys we know that are good. The rest are really unproven. And then you have Mr. Hall of Famer, arguably the most dominant player ever, Aaron Donald. Could this defense, could they be onto something here? Not spending too much on the defense, focusing on the offense, and setting themselves up for now and the future.
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny because I was just looking at, where their money is laid out this year. And I don't know what it is into the cap. It's like 60 something, but it's a majority of that is on like the defense side of it. I'm saying that's all in one player. So they have to be thinking something. This has to be a plan that they're coming up with and I'm going a little bit sidetracked, but I think people are just deciding that, Cooper Kupp is just like non-existent for some reason. Like he's just like not part of the offense anymore. And I know, there's questions kind of around Matt Stafford. We haven't talked about this. I'm going to throw it back to you because I think a lot of how I feel about this Rams team is almost less on the defense, which probably is a poor take, but I want to know where you're at with Matt Stafford. Like, Matt Stafford is playing next year is the full plan, right?
Yeah. No, okay. I like the people I've talked to within the organization seem very confident that he's back to normal. Like, he's the healthiest. I was told this. I was told really not to say it, but I won't add the name of who said it. But I was told straight up that Matthew Stafford's in like the best. He's feeling the best he's ever felt. Like,
did I tell you I saw him at a bar in Los Angeles?
You did.
You did. Did I send you a picture of him?
Yeah.
I turned around and I'm like, I'm 90% sure that is Matthew Stafford. He was massive. Okay, continue. Sorry, but no, I heard similar to what you heard too.
Yeah, I think what people don't understand is, and yes, obviously the injuries. He's not a healthy 35, 36 years old, but he's 35, right? Like, he's not super old, okay? The norm now, quarterbacks playing until they're 40. So he's got like 5 years left if we're talking about the norm. And that's not to say he'll play that, but I feel as though this is somebody who has been around so long because he was so young and drafted the year before Sam Bradford that we've seen Sam Bradford leave and Matthew's still here, and we just assume, oh, he was part of the Ben Roethlisberger year. Like, that's how people think, is they think like he's part of that. He's not. And so I look at Stafford and, you are what you were in your last game until you show us otherwise in the season. And the last time I saw Matthew Stafford, he looked good against the Saints. Yeah. When they protected him, he's throwing a bomb to Tutu Atwell. He's making, the no-look passes. He's stepping up in the pocket. He's escaping. He's sliding. and then he gets hurt. And that's the last time you see him all year. And I think we use that too much against him and not enough for him, because I would say this is the freshest he's ever been. Think about Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford. No one looks at it like this. Not arguably, the Rams' best 3 players on their roster got extensive time off. So
it was very intentional, like especially with Cooper Kupp. Like he could have, it was very intentional the way that they did this. Because sometimes, even like we said earlier, sometimes they rest players to go to the playoffs, and then sometimes they rest players because you don't need to rush them back, and you can give them that extensive time to come back and be the best that they can be. And I think we saw that a lot with the Rams, and the Rams are smart in that way. They also went out. I think a lot of that, misconception with Stafford is they saw him win a Super Bowl. And then it's like, oh, he's actually as old as Big Ben. No, he's not, weirdos. He's just not that old is the thing.
It's exactly. And it's funny how no one is using that idea of like, these guys had all that time off. And Stafford, mind you, got hurt badly in Detroit. The year when they traded for him, I don't believe he finished the season. That's the thing. So we're talking about that guy who comes off a year where he was banged up to all hell, missed games, so forth. And then he goes right into LA and he wins the Super Bowl. And now this is the guy you want to bet against after a freak season last year, injury after injury on the offensive line, 16 different combinations. And we're just like, he's penciled in. Matt has him 22nd. Okay. I mean, insanity.
Really?
He's the 22nd highest rated quarterback. He's rated a 75.
When did everyone turn their back? Remember when everyone was just like in love with him? Even before he went to the Rams, all people wanted to see was him out of Detroit. And that's all people talked about. They were so obsessed with him. And then he won the Super Bowl and everyone just like turned their back on him.
Well, that was you and I. That was people that like football. That was people that watch more than just their NFL team. They were like, oh, this poor Matthew Stafford. We watch him every Thanksgiving and he gets obliterated. And so we were hyped, and I was obviously hyped because I've been a fan of his and I'm a Rams fan. So whammy right there. But it was like those people were hyped. But you have the people that have literally built a brand on calling him Stat Padford, have said that he can't win a playoff game, and they weren't going to let their ego, like they weren't going to keep it in check. They were going to let it go. And they rode and they pounded the stump. You had, Skip Bayless on air is literally crying because Shannon Sharp is like, I thought you said Tom Brady was going to beat Matthew Stafford. Your boy lost. And he's like, stop it. Like he's literally crying like a child. Yeah. And you had too many people like that. And Steph, I'll throw this one by you. Matthew Stafford is the only quarterback in NFL history to throw over 5,000 yards and 60 plus touchdowns when playing the full season, including playoffs. No one's ever done that. That's first thing. Second thing, and this, I understand Cooper Kupp was great, okay? Cooper Kupp was great in the Super Bowl. But here's the thing. Matthew Stafford is the only quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl, throw 3 touchdowns, and not win Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp didn't win it because he's Cooper Kupp, because they were just giving it to Aaron Donald. Matthew Stafford was never winning that because the people that vote on that don't like Matthew Stafford. For whatever reason, these people do not like him. He proves them wrong time and time again. And it was like you said over and over again, he's 0-3 in the playoffs. Well, now he's 4-3. Went 4-0. And it's just like, I don't know what this guy did. Like, all I've ever heard are good things. He does charity work and literally tells people when he's doing the charity work, I don't want any media because I don't want this on film. Like, he's not about the clout. And it's like, what'd this guy do?
Yeah, I honestly, and I think there's so much politics in a lot of this than we could ever imagine. A lot of these, you look at even like the Pro Bowl, like some of the guys that get into it, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Has he ever gone to a Pro Bowl?
Even I
don't think so.
I was just interesting. Because it's just because a lot of this stuff has just become such like a participation award. Even anytime someone retires, immediately everyone's like, he has to go to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I know.
Not everyone can go to the Hall of Fame. Not everyone can go to the Hall of Fame. But I think, even, and, Evan.
One-time Pro Bowler.
Fantastic success. But the year that he went, that last year on the Giants, like, he did not deserve to be in the Pro Bowl by literally any means. I remember I've never been more shocked by something in my entire life. But it's interesting how things have shifted to just like almost it not making sense.
I agree with you. So Matthew Stafford, basically what you're saying is the season rides on Stafford. If he's healthy, they can do something. You're not really worried about the defense. The offense needs to protect him.
I maybe should be, but I think that they, even in their division will find ways to sneak. They just don't feel like a tank team. I don't see them going and just deciding the season. Like, I
can't stand that.
I don't see them being a team that's just going to be like, oh, we're done. Whereas, like, I feel very differently about teams like Tampa Bay, where I think it's like in their best interest to do something like that. The Rams, I don't know that I feel that strongly that I don't even know that the organization alone is going to do that is all.
No, they're not. Caleb Williams was never an option. I like USC, but no, that's not happening. I wish fans would just kind of give up on that. And then understand why people like you and I who wait 7-8 months, just like everyone else, but we also cover it, 7-8 months for the NFL season to kick off again. And you're telling me you're mad because I don't want to throw in the towel before I waited all this time. I'm not about to just be losing every game. That's insane. So I cannot stand that.